That was pretty good. That was Chicago and 25 or 6 to 4, as chosen by my studio guest, one of them, by Terence George. That was an awesome choice, Terry. So you're a Chicago fan?
Well, I just love my rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard too much of their other stuff, but yeah.
Because some of their stuff is quite chilled. And
yeah,
quite,
it is, yeah.
But that was rocking.
Yeah, it's a good
like
song.
that one. Also joined by Brook Wassall and also Simon Talbot as well. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things with them. But first of all, as I mentioned before the break, Brook, Sound of the Glen. Tell us about it. I've spotted this all over the place at the minute. Tell us what the concept behind it is.
That's great to hear that you've spotted it everywhere, because that's the aim of it, to get it out there. Basically just a platform I'm trying to build up to like showcase musicians. So it doesn't really have to be limited to anything, like acoustic or electric. The main, prospect behind it is just to gather musicians in nature and create some nice music.
Feral musicians in the wild.
Yeah. Basically I've wanted to do like outdoor live sessions for years, but it all came about because Terry mentioned he wanted like to lend a camera to film some stuff, and I just pitched him this idea, and it kind of grew from there. So, Terry's, I have a lot to thank for him, for getting like a lot of people on board with it.
So Terry, why did you want to do this then? Why did you want to kind of do something this different?
Because it's just very hard to kind of actually get your stuff out there, if you know what I mean. Like, as a musician on the Isle of Man, it's like a struggle to know where to start, really. We do have a music community, but sometimes it's just there's not that much kind of going on all the time, so in terms of recording and filming and all that. So yeah, I was just desperate to get my stuff out there, and luckily I've found the humble Brook to help me out.
Humble Brook.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a new name for you. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. But Terry raises an interesting point there, Simon. Now you're someone who's been on the scene for a number of years, shall we say? Just remind people then of a bit of your background with regards to being in music and production.
Well, I've been playing drums for years and years. Back in the Slim Pig days, when I was 16 or 17. After that, just got into recording really. I did a first live recording session with the Tiger Years. I think it was back about 5 or 6 years ago now. That was really good fun and a massive steep learning curve. But we got that album out there and just been doing bits and pieces really. Just whoever wants to do a bit of recording.
Love it. So you're going to be flooded now, I can tell you now. But Terry raised a good point there, and one of the reasons why I've come to you about it is because when you and I, in fact, were sort of playing a bit more music live, there were more venues, I think, possibly.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It did feel a bit like there was more of a sort of visible community, didn't it? Do you think that's maybe what Terry's talking about now with regards to it not feeling as much like there's as much of a sort of like community around?
Yeah, well, back in the day you had the Treff and you had Earl that ran so many music events. The Douglas, the Clary.
The Office even.
Yeah, the Office. And there's all those places.
Iron Pier.
And the Iron Pier, yeah. But there doesn't seem to be anywhere now, really. There's the odd place, but...
Occasional Amber. There's sometimes Amber stuff, But it seems more like it's sort of either really, really tiny venues or big venues like Peel Centenary or Villa and things, which is not really accessible for some of the smaller acts, is it, to an extent?
That's it. There's no that I know of, really, that does music every weekend of, local artists playing original music.
Yeah.
Do you think then, Terry, maybe that's because the audience has changed and they might not necessarily want to be going out every weekend?
I wouldn't say so, no. Like, I still do like a fair few amount of gigs on gigs around town and all that, but the problem is, I guess maybe it is the audience, because I kind of have to play covers because, people they just want something to sing along to kind of thing. It's not actually I just think there does need to be a place for the music community, I guess.
Yeah. Somewhere
where everyone can just come together, and then it's like Dark Horse that was just the other weekend was amazing because everyone was actually like really keen to hear everyone's original new music. So, yeah.
And you were playing there. I'm presuming you did a couple of different sets then.
I did 2 with the band Last Drags, which Toby's a drummer of as well, and then I did 1 solo set that
Oh, it sounds like there's a story there, but he doesn't want to tell it. So we'll leave that.
Bit, yeah.
We'll leave that right there. So, Brook, now we have this fantastic series of videos that you've been creating with Sound of the Glen, and I think Terry was the first one, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah.
And who have you had since then?
Well, there was Terry and then Teresa McNulty,
Uh-huh.
and of course, both of them being part of Last Drags, along with Talbot. We got them to do a duo one in Groudle Glen, which was pretty special. We also had Alice Dudley, Kieran Ball, and then the last session we had, which was at Ballaglass, we had Lee Brooks, Mark McCabe O'Kelly, and Moon Monsoon.
Oh, now Moon Monsoon. I've not heard of that. Who's Moon Monsoon?
Moon Monsoon. As far as I know, it's comprised of Nick Hammer, if I'm pronouncing that right, or Nick Hamer.
Hamer, yeah.
Nick Hamer, okay. And Ben Donaldson. I think Chris Cave, his name is as well, if I remember rightly.
What, Chris Cave from our newsroom? The drummer? Maybe. I don't know. I'll find out. I'll ask him about it. We'll look them up because there's a thing called Google which is quite helpful.
I might have it wrong. But.
Yeah, we'll look them up anyway. But you mentioned Lee Brooks there, and that ties in very nicely to a song which I was about to play. So explain what this piece of music is.
The one that you're about to play?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, it's one of his... I don't know when he wrote it, but he must have wrote it a while ago. I think the recording was from like 4 years ago. Talbot might have had a hand in recording it back then. But... No, it's not one that he plays on the Sound of the Glen platform, but it's a great song of his, and I just wanted to kind of get it out there to promote him because, at least for me, on the music scene on the island, he kind of goes unheard of, but he's a brilliant talent, and he's very humble about it, so it's nice to just, give him a bit of...
He's a good guy who does a lot for a lot of other people, but maybe doesn't do enough to promote himself. So well done, that man, for getting this on. This is the excellent, very Eddie Veddery, I would say, Lee Brooks and Flow.